guys. I'm Kendall Bonner, and I have my wonderful, beautiful friend, Kayla Laos. She is out of Arizona. She's got her own brokerage. She's a broker owner. She's a business owner. She does like all these amazing things. She's a team leader, but really what I actually love about her and how I really got to know her is she's a techie like me. She's into prop tech and she owns a prop tech company. And you can see the name in the back, Zoodealio. You might have heard me talk about it, but she is definitely one of those female leaders who I am honored to call friend. But also I can't wait to learn from her. And honestly, I can't wait to introduce you to her and make sure that you get to know her as well. So thank you, Kayla. I really appreciate you being here today. You're amazing. And this is just such an honor and a privilege for me to get to interview you today.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Kendall. I'm excited to be here and I'm honored as well. I cannot think of another female leader in our industry as well known and as respected as you. So this is definitely a treat for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's like, I feel like I don't even deserve that, but it's like really an honor to have you say that. So first, for the audience to get to know you, tell us a little bit about your journey, like how you ended up in real estate and really like walk us through where you started and then how you got to where you are now as the CEO and co-founder of Zoodealio, which is this, really cool tech platform. So we're not going to talk about Zoodealio really today, kids, but if you want to check it out, you definitely need to go to their website. It's really, really cool. I'm a fan. I'm a client. Go check it out. But I want to hear from you, Kayla, like tell us your journey.
Yeah, well, I have been in real estate for a very long time, 2 decades, and started out as a real estate agent and did very well. Started in 2003, and the market crashed just a few years later. I quickly had to learn how to adapt and pivot my business. And thankfully, I had worked prior to real estate for my dad. He's an attorney. And so I learned a lot about contracts. I learned a lot about things that a lot of agents are intimidated by. And so I was able to pivot very quickly into REO and short sales and did very, very well in that space. I've personally sold between prior to REO and with REO several thousand homes. And what happened when REO started dying down is I had all of this real estate knowledge and just this intense desire to mentor and train and lead other real estate agents because I just really love real estate. It's my passion. And I really wanted to share and inspire and lead others. And so I started our brokerage in 2007. And initially, which is a very, very small, intimate group of us at JK Realty. And we were very intentional when we decided we were going to grow. And when we set out to grow, we grew. I went from 9 agents in this very small office to 250 agents in a matter of 18 months. It was gangbuster growth. Was just really loving that journey and really helping mentor and share with other agents. And, was growing this brokerage and just really felt like technology was changing real estate. And we are kind of birthplace to all new things in tech here in Phoenix. And we were the birth of the iBuyers. So you had Open Door here and OfferPad here and Zillow Offers first came here. And we saw that firsthand playing out in the market. We would show up at the listing appointment. The seller would have the Open Door offer. And what was even more surprising is the seller would take the Open Door offer. And we'd be like, wait, I could list your house. I could make you more money. And so it was this shift. It was this mindset shift from, my goodness, I had been trained that the only thing the consumer cared about was my commission and what they were going to get for their house. And then in comes this new way of transacting real estate to where the home seller actually cares about other things too. And so we created Zoodealio out of necessity. And that started in 2020. And yeah, so it's been a wild journey, definitely a lot of ups and downs. I've learned a lot. have a lot left to learn. But one thing I just love is the real estate industry. I'm very passionate about this industry. Real estate agents will do things for other humans that nobody else on earth will. And the way we show up with our whole hearts to really serve and support people during a transitionary time in their life is just so commendable. And I'm for the agent. I love real estate agents, and I'm all about empowering us to really stay relevant in the changing landscape that is real estate right now.
Wow, that's such a good story. And I thank you for sharing that because, I think sometimes people miss all the layers and all the hard work and all the experiences that go into building something like what you built. Like you've got this big, amazing, awesome office that you've got running in the background. And then you have this really amazing prop tech company that you've partnered with some amazing, cool people with. You have some great talent there, and you've been building a business. I didn't realize it was as young as 2020. In my mind, Zoodealio has been around, longer than that in my mind, because it just seems so established, so well structured, and so clear in its vision. And obviously that is a credit to you and the leadership that you've set up at Zoodealio. So applause to you for that, because that's pretty neat.
Well, thanks. Yes. So we definitely have an amazing team. The founders of Zoodealio, we all share the same sentiment. And so I think when you have that purpose that you're all aligned on, you can do unimaginable things when you're all aligned on the purpose. So yeah, it's definitely humbling and exciting. But yeah, there's so much happening in real estate right now, Kendall. And I think that's what excites me, is the opportunity in the changing landscape. And so you had asked me earlier, what are you excited about? And I'm like, I'm excited about like all things, but I really believe that there's a unique opportunity right now. And it's just this small window of time where this opportunity is really prevalent for us, for those of us that are willing to prepare and, adapt to it. So it's exciting.
Yeah. So tell us about the market in Phoenix right now. Like what's kind of happening? What are everyone knows that there's a shift. I did an interview earlier today. It was someone in South Florida, and it's a luxury market. And he was saying, oh, units are down, but prices are still holding steady, and inventory is slowly climbing. But the reality is inventory is still very relatively low. Are you seeing a similar trend? And with that too, he and I both were talking about, several people are saying like right now, in particular in 2023, this is spring of 2023, production is down this year from last year. How about you? What are you seeing over there in Phoenix?
So, I could echo a lot of that as well. We actually have historically low inventory right now in Phoenix. And, we're one of the fastest growing counties in the US, yet we have only 13,000 homes on the market. So it's really low, critically low here. And, it's interesting because I think that buyers look at where rates are and look at where their money can take them. And they're going, this doesn't make sense. There's multiple offers. I thought the market was bad right now because they're reading all the headlines and all the doom and gloom. And it's just not the case. So same thing, transactional count is lower. You have sellers that are locked into these historically low interest rates. They're not going to bounce unless it's the perfect opportunity, or unless it's one of the main drivers of moving: divorce, death, debt, diapers, diamonds, those sorts of things. But I think that we're feeling that all here in the Phoenix market as well. Just really low supply, which is keeping prices high. And we're still seeing multiple offers. We're still seeing kind of this aggressive hot market, even though transactional count is it's lower year over year. It's definitely down. And I think that we're experiencing that across the US, and it's the interest rates that sellers are locked into. I firmly believe it. I think I read that 7 in 10 home sellers across the US are locked into a fixed 4% or less interest rate. So when you're looking at data that shows you that sellers are locked into these historically low rates, it makes sense that we're not seeing inventory come to market.
Well, do you think that maybe one of the things that we can do, because one of the things I do want to talk about is marketing, but before we get to that, like, let's talk about messaging. And I think that that's so important and relevant to even like what you brought together with Zoodealio, right? There's this messaging around iBuyers and messaging around power buyers and cash buyers and, you know, buy before you sell before you buy. You know, the idea that comes to me right now is this concept that like just reviving assumable mortgages, right? Like, how do we unlock inventory? Like, maybe we do assumable mortgages and we check out and like, maybe we can get back to this home swap concept, you know, like there's some like really kind of outlier ideas and concepts that always existed, you know, just like short sales, right? Short sales had existed long before that big boom of short sales, but no one talked about them because they were outliers, right? iBuying, investing was something that always happened, but then there became a boom. It had been an outlier, but then it became the norm and, you know, or more normal. I wonder if like assumable mortgage is something that might come back. What do you think?
Oh, I think, yeah, absolutely. We're already seeing it. And as far as the messaging perspective, I'm already seeing, you know, a lot of the really top-notch real estate content creators talking about assumable mortgages and how you can, you know, you can time warp back and you can get that 3% rate if you assume this loan. So some cool messaging around that. And I think that kind of, if I could encapsulate what I was just hearing you kind of talk about, it's about bringing options to the table. And I think in real estate, we got so accustomed to this one size fits all approach, a very traditional path. Yeah. And I think that what we're going to see in the future is more creativeness coming into the transaction, whether that's on the sell side with, you know, some of these iBuying and different equity release products, or if it's on the buy side where you could be assuming or you could be swapping, you really could in essence, and all of these other things that I feel like agents are grasping and they're leaning into, which is great news because they need to, but it's, you know, I have a saying, having one option is no longer an option. Yeah. Right. You need to come to the table with multiple ways that the seller or buyer can accomplish their goal, because if you're boxed into that one, it could be the difference between that person moving or not moving, or buying or not buying. And so I think that if we really want to increase transactional count, we will have to do those things and really lean into and learn and understand, okay, how do assumable mortgages work? And if I'm going to be out there talking about this, you know, what would it take to qualify for that assumable mortgage? And how do I find the people that have the mortgages that can be assumed so that I can target them in my, you know, my seller search activities? So definitely the good agents are the ones that are thinking about these things and tooling themselves up so that they can implement strategies to go after it.
Yeah. So true. And, you know, as you're saying this, I'm thinking my coach, John Cheplack, who I know, you know, as well, like, he's always saying that it's a message to market match, right? Like you have to manage that and like match that up with what's happening in the marketplace. And so like, let's talk about, because you just mentioned like, there's all these options. Again, for our audience, because I kind of went through it rapidly, what are some of the options that you're aware of and that you kind of message out to consumers about the various options out there for them to transact real estate right now? What are some, like, just list them out, because I know you know a bunch, so we can kind of maybe pick through a couple of those.
Sure. So, well, clearly, if you're a home seller, you can list your home on the open market. That's always an option. You can also explore what a cash offer from a cash offer company would look like. You can explore more of a full market value cash offer. So there are full market value cash offers that sellers can explore that are fee-based and they're structured sales. So they have two payouts. There's also cash offers that provide for a flexible leaseback of 12 to 24 months, depending on the seller's needs. There's also products that help sellers rehab, or what I like to call flip their own home, so to speak, so they can go in and make repairs and then sell that home for top dollar on the open market. And then some of the buy side opportunities are, of course, the cash buyer programs, which you may have heard of as the power buying type programs. So that's where the buyer can actually be approved with a mortgage, but they can use that lender's cash to go buy their next home and then get the loan. Allows them to really compete in the marketplace, win out over multiple offers. Not only can they win out over multiple offers, there's a study that was done by the University of California, San Diego, that said that they can actually on average get like a huge discount. They went historical back and found that it was an 11% discount cash buyers received over finance buyers through history. So that's always a cool area to explore if you're working with a buyer and they're having a challenge getting into a home. And then you're going to see the wraps, the assumables, and I think that's kind of where the conversation is going now, is can we assume this loan? And even wraps are coming up, and I'm starting to see those here in our market as well.
So tell me about a wrap. I'm not familiar with that one. So what is
So,
that?
you know, they're a bit, some states, they may be, you know, illegal. In Phoenix, you can wrap, basically you just take over payments on that seller's loan.
Got it.
And you use a servicing company that takes in your payment and pays the mortgage so that you're insured that that mortgage is getting paid. And I think that the caveat with the wrap is it could trigger the due on sale clause. And clearly if that happened, you know, not good. So it's interesting, and you have to really tread very carefully with the wraps. But yeah, you just basically start taking over that seller's mortgage.
Interesting. So it's kind of like a play on a rent, but you're not just a renter. You maybe perhaps the deed has been transferred into your name. And you're paying someone else's mortgage. Interesting. I guess I wonder too, like it must stay in their name as opposed to assumable, which would transfer it into the purchaser's name.
So yeah, there's a strategist out there that says if you're going to wrap a loan, don't transfer it into your personal name, transfer it into a trust. Because apparently servicers are really accustomed to receiving transfers into trusts, and they kind of just, oh, it's just someone, you know, it's just that homeowner putting their house in their trust now. Whereas really, if it was a wrap, you could have actually sold your property, and that new person has it now in their trust name. And so those are interesting. You have to be so careful with the wraps and make sure that they're legal in your state, and make sure that, you know, you're not triggering that due on sale clause.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah. I definitely like that's one of the things about all of these different I call them insight solutions, you know, and leading to results for the customer, is that, you know, by providing all these various like options that a customer has in order to effectuate their goal, it is our responsibility to present them, in my opinion, like, because if you're not going to tell a customer, they're getting advertised to about it anyway, and they're going to be curious about it. And if our job as community ambassadors and leaders and advisors in the transaction isn't to present all the options, and, you know, then I don't feel like if we're not doing that, we're not doing our job. Right. And I'm sure you would agree with that. And how that really kind of helps customers make, I think, better and wiser decisions for their family when they just know everything that there is that they can do, so that they can, accomplish their goals at the end of the day. And I always find it a little tragic and confusing why realtors rebel against that. I don't know. Like, what's your experience with that, Kayla? Like, how have you kind of get that message out there to real estate professionals, to get them to kind of embrace these new concepts, you know?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Have you ever read the book by Simon Sinek, Start With Why?
Yes.
So he talks about the law of innovation and diffusion of information. And he shows the bell curve of how a new idea spreads. And while many of these things may not be new, as you mentioned, they could just be repackaged, but they've kind of been out of practice, right, for a while. And we're starting to see more creative things kind of come into the space. And so as you look at the curve of the bell curve of information spreading, I think that we're still at the very bottom where you have the innovators and you have the very early adopters. And so I would love to say that, I think that agents are, just embracing and they're ready for this. But the reality is many are ill prepared for what the future looks like. And don't get me wrong, we have a growing, strong, amazing member base of agents that get it. And, they're like, oh yeah, I see this. I understand that I need to be armed and tooled with these different offers and options in order to really serve and support at the highest capacity. But you still have a lot of individuals that I feel like are sticking their head in the sand, right? We hear that phrase a lot. And unfortunately, I think that they do. And I think that unfortunately, a lot of realtors get caught up in the deal. They're so caught up in the property that has the appraisal problem or the inspection, report that they're negotiating or the offer that they have outstanding. And they get so caught up in the moment that they lose sight of the bigger picture. And, unfortunately, I think that mentality is what has allowed technology and these prop tech and disruption kind of into the space, is because if you look at how the average realtor is set up to conduct business, more often than not, it's just them. Or, it's just them with a very small support team and they're doing everything. And if you're doing everything, yeah, you are kind of in the moment of your operations and you're not really focusing on, okay, one of the things that's really apparent to me is this litigation against NAR right now. And I really believe that the buyer broker compensation could change in the future here. And it's fascinating to me how many realtors aren't even aware of it, number one. Yep. And number two, if they are aware of it, they're so dismissive of it. And it's just getting out of that minutia of the deal and the day-to-day operations and just taking a moment to pause and reflect upon, okay, where is my business going? How am I going to serve and support? How am I going to serve and support in the event any of these changes should happen? Because you ought to be prepared. You might as well be. And there are shifts that agents can make now to arm themselves for a better tomorrow, whether or not the disruption or the lawsuits prevail. Regardless of all of that, it will still serve them to make these shifts. So I think it just comes down to the mindset truly of the realtor. And we really have to level up.
Agreed. Wow. Yeah, that was so good. I know too that, like you said, I mean, there's so much to absorb. And, I think the other challenge I think real estate professionals have is that I think they have to know everything about all the things. And sometimes you just need to know enough to determine if your customer is interested. And then if they're interested, then you can go dive deeper. And it's through the experience of that transaction that you really learn all the ins and outs and the details, in my experience. And so I almost I'm tempted to encourage agents, go learn about it, go study these options so that way you can present them to your customer, because if you're not, someone else will, and you're going to be losing those opportunities. I wanted to, I said I wanted to talk about marketing, and we're already through most of our time, but I do want to talk to you about that a little bit, because you're so good at that. Your marketing knowledge base and ideas and innovation and vision is so strong. Talk to us a little bit about what are some of the marketing messages, marketing concepts, marketing ideas that are kind of hot right now that you think hey, if I can give you a couple of tips, audience, on how to up your game and level up in marketing, what would they be, Kayla?
So you're going to hear probably the biggest thing is video.
Yeah.
Right. It's no secret. You got to be making content. You got to be doing what Kendall and I are doing. And I think one of the biggest benefits of doing a podcast for me, I have a podcast. The biggest benefit is then I can clip that podcast up. And now I have short form content that I can push out to, TikTok and Instagram as a reel and YouTube as a short and Facebook as a reel. And you can even put it on LinkedIn if you're growing your LinkedIn as well. And I think that the biggest thing is video. It's the most powerful marketing medium. You mentioned you coached with John. I coached with John years ago when I was growing my brokerage, phenomenal. And John pushed me to get on video. Mm-hmm. And so I did I've had, a long video journey. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to push that record button and be terrified. And I also know what it feels like after you push the record button and you're like, oh my God, that's out there now. And that's, I call it like a vulnerability hangover. And then to realize like only 5 people watch it, right? It's definitely a journey, but if you're in this business to really make an impact and to really serve big and you're not using video, you need to ask yourself, are you really in this business to make an impact and serve big? Because the best way that you can scale your message is through video. It's the best trust accelerator. It's going to get people to know you, like you, trust you. And it's really just so powerful. So I think video is where it's at.
That's awesome. And I agree with you. I mean, content creation from a video perspective is like limitless. I mean, you literally get to rob other people's backgrounds. You get to rob other people's voices. You get to rob other people's faces. Like, you get to, just do whatever you want when it comes to that, whether it be to educate or be funny or entertaining. And all of that is kind of acceptable in real estate these days, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. I mean, look, I watch, I don't know her name, but I follow an Instagram account. It's Domo Realty, and it's a real estate broker out of Atlanta, Georgia, and she's hilarious. And she just did an open house video today where she's like, as your agent, and she's like sticking the for sale sign in the yard, and then she steps on a pile of dog crap. It's just hilarious. And like, I'm going, she can get away with this just because of who she is and how she markets. But yeah, I mean, the content that I'm seeing being created in the real estate space right now is everything from like my stuff, which I feel like my stuff is boring. It's very informative driven, to very creative things like like what this broker is doing. And even some of these agents that are out there basically creating songs and they're going viral. And, I know that attention is the most valuable currency.
Yeah.
Because it's our time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get people's attention, when you have their time, you're going to be able to monetize on that some way, shape, or form. And if you're serving in the real estate community, I mean, my goodness, look at the average commission per deal. It's an insane amount that we are paid. And so if you're using video as that top of funnel strategy, it's going to serve you to get that attention in one way, shape, or form. And, I look at it, for instance, like you're with EXP now, which I would love to hear more about that, but we'll have to talk about that another day. Yes. But, I look at from, like you, right? Your reach is the whole US, your reach is a real estate agent across the US. There are 1.6 million of us, right? And right. Your reach is all of us, and you get to create content and push it out there and connect with people all over. It's incredible. It's incredible. In fact, so many times I think to myself, if there was a fee for this, maybe we would adopt it and take it more seriously. I think because it's free, it gets diminished. Because we can go publish our content everywhere for free.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's almost a disservice because I feel like it's so powerful. It's so amazing that, we should really be looking at it from a different lens.
Gosh, I mean, such a good point, because it's true. Like if something's free, we tend to devalue it for whatever reason. But, I have to say, I know I've been doing video content since 2016 for me. I think it's like the earliest in my career. I really started trying to get into it. Did more in 17, even more in 18 and 19, and so on and so forth. And again, like I was telling someone in an interview today, I did my first Instagram live today. And I'd never done live before. So that was fun and funny. But with doing video, everyone starts off uncomfortable. But it's like anything, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the more natural it becomes. And then there's this, once you get on the other side of that, to this place where it's like, okay, it's not that bad. You can then like level up into something else, like for me, it went from video to stages, and like being on someone's stage at an event. Okay, that's terrifying. Way more terrifying than video, honestly, at this point.
Right.
And
Right.
then, but it's such a powerful tool and medium to be in, like, because video works. I did a podcast on this a long time ago, where video is like digital door knocking. Like you are 24/7 knocking on someone's door, virtual door of their life, by having content that's evergreen, that's sitting out there for people to watch and to, get to know you and to like you, because so much of that relationship and that connection comes from seeing people we know on camera. People reference the Kardashians all the time for whatever reason. We're all fascinated by them in their lives, but it's because they're on our screen. Mm-hmm. And it just, we feel like we know them. We know J-Lo, we know Beyonce, we know, all these famous people, Brad Pitt, we attach to them because they're on our screens every day. And, what more powerful tool do we have as salespeople out there selling a service than to get in this space and be in front of people,
Yeah, it's incredible, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's such a amazing time to be in real estate.
Yeah.
Because of the ways that we can reach people, such as video.
Yeah. And way more powerful and easier than sending out a million postcards.
Oh, yeah. That someone's standing over the trash can, like dumping in their trash bin. Yeah, of course. I mean, so yeah, I think that's the best. I believe it's the best marketing medium is video. So
yeah,
something that we're doing a lot of here.
It totally makes sense. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, Caleb, thank you so much for your time today. I always want to respect it because you give so generously to the community with all of your insights, your wisdom, your knowledge, your experience. And, I just thank you again for being here and being my friend and saying yes to me. I thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate it. You are most welcome. Thanks, Kendall.
And then, so last couple of things before I let you go. How can people find you, connect with you if they want to refer your company business, or they want to learn more about Zoodealio? Learn about your podcast? Give people all the deets. Where can they find you?
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram. It's my name, Kayla Laos, KalaLaos. You could go to Zoodealio.com and you could find me there. Our podcast is at the bottom of our website as well. Or you could just Google me. So I'm pretty out there.
That's awesome. 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 And then last but not least, couple of what's next questions. So what's the next professional event that you're going to this year?
The Tom Ferry Success Summit in August.
Oh, that sounds cool. Tom Ferry's a great coach. Does a ton of video.
Yes. We're sponsoring the event, so we're pretty pumped about it.
Oh, that's so great. What a connection for you and your team. That's amazing. And then what's your next project or investment? Like what's kind of on the horizon for you and Jason?
So we're doing a big update to Zoodealio that is really neat. And that's a huge investment of not only resources, but also a lot of time. And that's on the horizon for us.
Oh, well, that's cool. Is this like a tech update, or are you adding a new product? Like,
It's an update to the platform, yes. So it's called Blast, and what it'll allow real estate agents to do is upload their database of individuals, and then they can blast out the cash offer value of that individual's home, so that in real time, that homeowner always knows what their easy exits are and where they stand.
Oh, that's really cool. That's awesome. And then the last, what's next is, what's next on the personal horizon in terms of family vacation? I truly believe that people who work hard should also take breaks and have that personal time. So where are you and your family, or you and Jason going next, just for fun?
Just for fun. So we're celebrating our 23rd wedding anniversary next month, and we're going to Napa Valley for a few days.
Oh, that's beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I swear, you keep talking about 2 decades worth of life. And I'm like, when did she start? When she was 12? Because you don't look like you should have 20 years of adulthood. I'm just putting that out there. So whatever your secret is, keep doing it, because you are gorgeous.
Well, you are so kind. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and funny enough, Bill and I, our 20-year wedding anniversary is next month as well, which is in May. And so we are going on a trip too. So I love that for you guys. And I hope you have an amazing trip. I personally have never been to Napa Valley, but I need to go, because all my good friends have gone, and I love wine.
It's amazing. I have to know though, when is your anniversary date?
May 17th.
Okay, we're the 23rd, so really close.
Yes. It's such a great time of year to celebrate. So congratulations to you and Jason. And again, thank you so much, Kayla, and your team at Zoodealio for giving me this time with you today. I'm really, really grateful. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, Kendall. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.